Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel. And today I'm going to be doing a versus video between the Anta KT6 and the Anta KT7. So the KT7 is pretty expensive, it's going for 150 bucks. The KT6 is on sale for 120 bucks. I believe it retailed for like 120 bucks on Famuji. And also the KT6 Low, which is super nice, is on sale for 100 bucks. Like 100 or 110 bucks depending on the colorway. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, but let's get started right away with the Tracciones. And both of these on a clean court have a phenomenal bite, very nice squeak as well. So if you're playing on a clean court, you should be good to go. If you're playing on a dusty setting though, it's a little bit different, right? So the KT7 has a little bit of a problem with dust, as far as like it's pretty hard to wipe off. You have to really try to wipe off the outsole of dust and debris. And once you do, you have really good stops and it doesn't really pick up dust that quickly. But it's just the fact that you have to like really wipe. You know, that's kind of annoying for me personally. The KT6, it definitely does pick up dust a little bit quicker than the KT7, but it's really easy to wipe off. It's just like a wipe or two, so it is a little bit different. Also, both of these shoes aren't super dangerous on a dusty setting. You know, when a lot of dust builds up, you don't really slide out dangerously. Obviously the bite isn't as good, but it's not dangerous, you know, so that's a good thing. So for me personally, I don't know, I feel like the KT6 is a little bit more convenient. I feel like it all depends on what you like, but for me personally, I just like to wipe like this and then I'm good to go, you know, although the KT6 does pick up dust faster, right? As far as durability, they should both be fine. The KT6 I actually did play on an outdoor surface and I held up pretty well. And the KT7, I didn't play on an outdoor surface, but the grooves are thick, the rubber is super hard, so I feel like it'll be good as well. I mean, look at how dirty it is. Oh my god, the KT6. But anyways, they're both really good. It's just the difference on a dusty setting, and like I said, I feel like it's a little subjective at that point. All right, as far as the heel to toe transition goes, I would say the KT7 is a little bit smoother, right? So here in the heel, as you guys can see, they're both caged. Look at that, the KT7 and the KT6. I would say the KT6 is a lot more caged actually, especially here on the medial side. There's really no foam exposed at all, I guess, besides this black part. But anyways, the KT6 caging is a lot harder. You know, it's still, I mean, there's still a little bit of give on the foam, but then the KT7 feels actually a lot softer. So when you're kind of like putting your heel down into the ground, there is a good amount more compression here in the KT7. We have a nice rounded shape. Here in the forefoot, we have a crazy curved shape as well, and a lot of forefoot flex, which feels great. Here in the KT6, it's not clunky or anything, it's just a little bit stiffer here in the heel, so that's why I'm saying the KT7 feels a little bit better for me personally. And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape and we have a lot of forefoot flex as well. Also, both of these shoes have a very nice premium touch of a carbon fiber midfoot shin plate. So that's very nice and premium. Moving on to the cushioning setup, so it's very different. As far as the foam goes, the KT7 is using Nitro Speed, which looks like Boost, or I guess Boom from Li-Ning. Super thick, there's a good amount of compression, like I said, here in the heel. And there is a crazy offset, right? So here in the forefoot, you're actually pretty damn low to the ground, but here in the heel, you're actually very high up off the ground. So you have that crazy offset. The heel, there's a crazy amount of compression. Also, like I said, the cage is softer, which allows for more compression. Impact protection for heel strikes is super good. You have a nice little bounce as well. It's soft, it's comfortable. The KT6 on the other hand, we have a blend of Ulti-Flash and also Smart Sam. Or I guess the KT7 is also using the Smart Sam foam or whatever here in the heel. But anyways, the KT6, the forefoot is low to the ground just like the KT7, but the heel is a lot lower to the ground than the KT7. So there's that, but as far as court feel goes, I mean, the KT7, it didn't feel like crazy high up off the ground just because of how low to the ground the forefoot was. So it wasn't really a huge deal for me personally, but I feel like that's a little bit more subjective. As far as the compression and impact protection goes, and comfort and how soft the foam is, KT7 is way better. The KT6 is more just like, it's not that nice, honestly. It's more just like a responsive cushioning setup with adequate impact protection, I would say. So if you want a cushioning setup where it's like you don't really want to feel a whole lot, then the KT6 is the better option. If you want something more comfortable with better impact protection, with more bounce, then I would definitely suggest getting the KT7. And also, like, it's not to the point where the cushion is too much or anything in the KT7 for me personally. So I feel like most people will enjoy the cushioning setup in the KT7 over the KT6. All right, moving on to the materials. Yeah, that's definitely a win for the KT7. So, I mean, although the KT7 has fuse on it for extra durability and support, look at how soft it is, and it just conforms to your foot so much better than the KT6. I mean, the KT6 wasn't terrible, but then like they're just going a little too much, and like it's very overboard, I would say. You know, there's just this crazy fuse, or it's basically a plastic material. You got this 3D hug system here as well, and whatever knit they had, like this black part, they also fused it up like crazy, which I didn't like either. So yeah, the KT7 feels better on foot. You know, although it still feels just as supportive as the KT6, I would say. As far as the tongue goes, I would say the KT7 has a little bit more padding. And then for the ankle area, both of the shoes have a Achilles pillows, which feels very nice and comfortable on the Achilles. So for quality and also on foot, I would definitely say the KT7 is way better for materials. But I guess that makes sense because it is the overall more expensive shoe. Alright, as far as the fit goes, the fit, I went true to size for both of them, and it was a great fit for me in both of the shoes. So if you know what size you were in the KT6, go pretty much the exact same size in the KT7. But there is one stipulation where the KT7, like I said, that crazy offset, so the heel is pretty damn high up off the ground, right? So when I'm just kind of like sitting down, the fit is really good, right? But when I stand up and I put weight into the shoe, my foot slides forward. And when I do this type of movement when I'm playing, my toe does definitely bang into the front of the shoe, which doesn't feel too good. I mean, it's definitely not something that bothered me that much, and I hated the shoe for it, but I definitely did notice it, and it was kind of annoying. So if that is something that you wouldn't like at all, then I would suggest probably going up half a size for the KT7. The KT6, like I said, is more of a flatter offset, so I really didn't have a problem with that in this shoe. All right, moving on to support and lockdown, I would say they're both really good. You know, for lateral containment, I had no issues with either of the shoes. I mean, look at all of this caging here on the 6. You have the 3D hug system in the forefoot. You also have this strap, which I didn't really like all too much. And then you have the caging coming up here in the heel. Same thing with the 7. You have a lot of the caging coming up, acting as a sidewall. So lateral containment, I was good in both of the shoes. As far as lateral stability, they're both really good. You know, they both have crazy outriggers, as you guys can see. So very wide bases and very laterally stable. For ankle protection, you know, if you want ankle support, both of these shoes have pretty good ankle support. I mean, it doesn't restrict ankle movement that much to the point where it's just like I felt really uncomfortable, because personally I like to play in low tops, so I really had no problems with playing both of them. But if you want a little bit of ankle support, then both of these shoes are very good. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like they're gonna be like pretty similar, right? So the KT6 is 14.43 ounces, which is pretty heavy, and the KT7 is 14.14 ounces, so it's like 0.3 ounces lighter for the KT7. Doesn't really make that much of a difference. Do they feel light? Not really, but also it doesn't feel like crazy heavy. And another thing, it doesn't feel crazy bulky either. I mean, the KT7, and also kind of like in the KT6, it feels a little bulky here in the heel just because of how much foam there is. But other than that, I mean, you feel very responsive when you're playing both of them. Like, the traction's really good, cushion feels responsive in the KT6. Also in the KT7, get a little bit of bounce. And like I said, the softness and the compression in the foam didn't feel too soft to where I felt laggy. The materials felt super thin, very supportive shoe and all that. So when you're playing both of these shoes, you should be fine. You're gonna feel quick and responsive. It's just not the lightest shoe ever. All right, moving on to the ventilation, I would say the KT7 is better. The KT6, we have this 3D hug system. We have a lot of fuse. We got this strap, so it feels a little bit warmer than the KT7, where it doesn't really have a whole lot of airflow, but it's just, you know, the heat can dissipate through the material, which makes the overall shoe a little bit like cooler than the KT6. All right, as far as the aesthetics go, I feel like I like the KT6 a little bit better. maybe it's the colorway. I really like this black and white color on the KT6. The KT7 also looks great, but in my personal opinion, I would say the KT6 looks a little bit better. Tell us what you guys think looks better down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the KT7 is definitely an upgrade from the KT6. The cushion is better. You know, I was very underwhelmed, or I guess like a little disappointed in the cushioning setup in the KT6, just because, you know, all T-Flash is super nice, but like they just cage it up so much, especially here in the heel, you know. Traction is still just as good. Materials they definitely improved upon. I really didn't like the material choice in the KT6. Although it wasn't like terrible, I just didn't like it as much, and I definitely think the KT7 feels a lot better. So I would definitely suggest pay the extra like 20-30 bucks and get the KT7, because overall it's just a better performer in my opinion. So anyways, that about concludes this versus video on the KT6 and the KT7. Again, if you guys do want to cop either of these shoes, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.